I hear a knock on my door one day, and I go to the door, and there's a little girl about this tall selling Girl Scout cookies. Only $2? Support the Girl Scouts? No problem, I wanted to, and with a big smile, she politely asked me to buy. I did want to buy. Big problem, I didn't have $2 in my pocket. I can't tell her that. So I thought, well, next best, I lied to her, and she leaves. When she leaves, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. So I promised myself that day it would never happen again. Well, I'm excited about being here, of course. Nice to see all of you. Every time I hear these testimonials, it says to me one more time, this is why I'm here. And then when I hear the training, giving ideas on how all of you can go from where you are to where you'd like to be, I say to myself, this is why I'm here. And what the opportunity can do for people who will just start, apply what you know to start. You can learn as you go and go as far as you'd like to go. And I say to myself one more time, this is why I'm here. And then to have all of you welcome me as you did, I say to myself, this is why I'm here. It's interesting how people along the way dramatically affect your life. I was reminiscing this morning. I got up early. I'm 25 years old. I'm married. I've been working 6 years. Went to college for a year. I got a little family. And I'm behind on my big mouth promises, not feeling that good about myself, working hard, trying to make it go, but falling a little behind. Creditors calling once in a while saying, you told us the check was in the mail. I'm embarrassed by all of that. Then the final story, I hear a knock on my door one day, and I go to the door, and there's a little girl about this tall selling Girl Scout cookies. And she gave me the big pitch on Girl Scout cookies. Finest organization in the world. We got these cookies, only $2. Support the Girl Scouts. No problem, I wanted to. And with a big smile, she politely asked me to buy. I did want to buy. Big problem, I didn't have $2 in my pocket. So I thought, I can't tell her that. So I thought, well, next best, I lied to her. And I said, look, I've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. I've still got plenty in the house that we haven't eaten yet. She said, well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And she leaves. When she leaves, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, how low can you get lying to a Girl Scout? I mean, that's as low as it gets. So I promised myself that day it would never happen again. My father, let me give you my father's seminar in 2 sentences. Here it is. Always do more than you get paid for. This is from my father. Always do more than you get paid for to make an investment in your future. Getting a customer may be fairly easy, getting someone to buy. Getting them to use the product a little more difficult. You've heard me tell the story. You call Mary, say, Mary, how are you doing? Mary says, I'm not losing weight. You say, that's impossible. She said, I tell you, I'm standing on the scales right now, and I'm not losing weight. And you have to say, Mary, the product doesn't work while you're standing on the scales. Or whatever you can think of. She says, no, it's not going to work for me. And you say, Mary, what day is it? She says, it's Friday. And you say, I forgot to tell you, this product works better on the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, people lose weight like crazy. Come on, Mary, use the product. And she finally says, okay, I'll start using the product. That's called the work after the sale. So if you do more than you get paid for, especially in Herbalife, It's the testimonials that drive the business. So do that extra work. The work to sell, yes, but then the work to get somebody to use the product. Mark's major goal was not to sell Herbalife. Mark's major goal was to get people to use Herbalife. Herbalife wasn't started with a sale. Mark got his grandmother to use the product. He didn't sell it to her. You got to be pretty tough to collect money from your grandmother, right? So Mark gave the product to his grandmother. So make this note now, Herbalife was started with a gift. But Mark was certain that if his grandmother used the product, she'd have great results, and that's exactly what happened. And the results that she got and her testimonial quickly got Mark 25 more customers. So, my father's advice was good. My mother said study and practice health and nutrition. Then I meet this extraordinary man, Mr. Earl Schoaf. He's the one that introduced me to health and nutrition as a product and a business. And then he's the one that started giving me that early philosophy that I shared with Mark when I met him when he was 19. For things to change, you've got to change. For things to get better, it's not what happens that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens. Direction determines destination. All you got to do is make a little change in direction to arrive at a brand new destination in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I learned all that incredible philosophy from this unique man, Mr. Earl Schoaf. Then my mentor taught me if I started part-time, I could have a great testimonial that went like this. I'm working full-time on my job, and I'm now working part-time on my fortune. It's so exciting to go to work part-time on your fortune. Yes, it's fun to make a little extra money. Yes, change your lifestyle. But I developed a whole new philosophy. That's why within less than 6 months, I was making more money part-time than I was making on my full-time job. Here was my next goal, to make twice as much money part-time as I was making on my full-time job. I reached that in less than 1 year. Now I've got an incredible story. I found this unique opportunity. I'm part-time, but I'm making twice as much money part-time as I'm making on my full-time job. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. If you just remain how you are, you'll always have what you've got. But if you're willing to make changes, the next 5 years of your life can be totally different than the last 5. If you don't change, chances are excellent the next 5 will be like the last 5. Those philosophies I shared with Mark. Once in a while in his testimonial, here's what he used to say. Jim Rohn was the first person that gave me the idea that in spite of my background and poor circumstances and lack of education, in spite of all of that, I could make changes and become successful. Jim Rohn was the first person. You can't imagine how that made me feel. Not only all those years, but all these years. I was happy to bring this idea. Here's what it's called, simply personal development. In that first seminar, here's what I shared with Mark. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. You don't have to work on the marketplace, you only have to work on yourself to become more valuable and learn the skills. Let me give you a list of those skills that I learned that you can learn in Herbalife that can change your life. Here they are. Number 1, getting customers. Age 25, I knew how to milk cows, didn't pay very well. Then my life started to change. Health and nutrition. The product I sold was similar to Formula 1, Formula 2, Herbalife. Protein wafers to snack on all day long, help you lose weight. Getting customers. First skill I learned besides milking cows, and it helped to change my life, starting part-time. Next skill I learned, finding good people. You just have to search. If you search, what? You will find. Finding is reserved for the searchers, not for the hopers, not for those who wish, but for those who search. And you've had enough information here already today to go back and increase your skill and ability to search until you find good people. The third skill I learned was how to organize, getting people to work together. If you want to become wealthy, this is one of the most important skills. An ancient scripture says, if two or three agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. I'll give you time to write that down, translate it in Spanish and whatever other language is going on here today. Here's what it says. If two or three agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. If two or three agree, the power of just two or three, doesn't need to be 2,000 or 3,000 to start. Doesn't need to be 200,000 or 300,000 to start. Just two or three who agree. It was so exciting for me 19 years ago when Mark said, Jim, travel the world with me. We'll build the finest leadership team in the world. We'll someday influence the health and nutrition industry. And if we do it right, we can positively affect the lives of millions of people. Right. Not 1,000 of us, just 2 or 3 to start. And then 2 or 3 became 200 or 300, and 200 or 300 became 2,000 or 3,000, and 2,000 or 3,000 became 200 or 300,000, and 200 or 300,000 became 2 million. And finally we arrive here today. Just 2 or 3 to start. In your community, in your organization, get 2 or 3 and start working together. The next key I learned that changed my life, a unique skill called promotion. I learned to reward people for small steps of progress. But if you'll take care of the little steps, learning to recognize, promote, then here's the key that made me millions. Be so busy giving recognition to others, you really don't need it for yourself. Next, the skill that I learned during those formative years of being a distributor, and that's communication. And it's communication in 3 parts. Here's those 3 parts. Number 1, training, showing somebody how the business works. You've had plenty of that already today. But here's the next one, which I'm trying to do a bit of as we finish here today. And that's called teaching. And I've just used 2 words just to separate the 2. Training, showing somebody how the business works. Teaching is showing somebody how life works. When I met my teacher, Mr. Schoaf, he said to me, Mr. Rohn, show me your current list of goals and let's go over them and talk about them. He said, I've been around a long time, I can probably give you some good advice. And I said to him, I don't have a list. He said, Mr. Rohn, if you don't have a current list of your goals, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did. And that got my attention. I said, you mean my bank balance would change if I had a list of goals? He said, drastically. I said, then I'm ready to learn how to set goals. He taught me, and it changed my life, how to set goals. So I'm asking you not only just to be a trainer, I'm asking you to be a teacher. Teach somebody leadership skills. Teach somebody communication skills. So we need life skills and business skills, and you can learn to do both, even if you're fairly new. Here's the most important on communication, learning to inspire. Helping people see themselves better than they are. Helping people see the future. Helping people see not just with their eyes, but help them to see with their mind, insight. Seeing with your eyes we call sight. Seeing with your imagination we call insight. Helping people to see the vision of the future. That's what Mark brought us when he started the company. In those 20 years he was with us, he helped us to see the future. And under personal development, learning the skills, here's what I learned building my own organization. Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Because that's the way life works. Life doesn't respond to what we need. Life responds to what we deserve. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll get one. It says, no, if you plant in the spring, you'll get a harvest in the fall. Reaping and harvesting belongs to the planters, not to those who need, but to those who plant. Then here's the next key. Show people how to deserve your time. Work with the people who deserve it, but show them how to deserve your time, your attention, your information. Next, something that helped transform my career in health and nutrition. Here it is. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. Just make that note. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Here's what I've learned to do. Discipline your disappointment, especially if it's someone you know and they try so little when they need to do it so much. I learned sometimes those that need it the most are inclined the least. Those that should, don't. Those that could, won't. Here's what we call that: mysteries of the mind. I don't know. Someone says, well, this product doesn't work for me. I said, it was designed not to work for some people. So, I don't know. Because I used to try to make everybody successful, found out that was impossible. I said, I'll make them successful if it kills me. I almost died, so I gave that up. Do your best to teach and inspire and instruct, and then just see what happens. Let yourself be surprised. Here's what else I found that made me rich. Sometimes it's not who you recruit, it's who they bring you that makes you rich. Mark recruited about 200 people. Most of them did not stay, but some of them, before they left, brought him somebody that made him rich. You must remember that. You recruit somebody, and they bring somebody who brings somebody who brings somebody, and that's the person who makes you rich. And have the patience to make that happen. So let me give you this quick list now as I wrap it up. Here's the first one. Have some patience, Mark said. Patience to work with a variety of personalities. Some customers are easy, and some are a pain. Some distributors are easy, and some are a pain. Some distributors, as soon as they're recruited, open up the bottle of tablets, pour the tablets on the table, and they count the tablets. If it's one tablet short, they call you on the phone. If it's one tablet too many, they never call. Have the patience, do the best you can. I know sometimes patience finally runs out, but until then, do the best you can. Next, you got to have faith to believe, faith in yourself, faith in the process, faith in the plan, faith in the products. Here's what's next. Learn to make wise decisions. Wise decisions about yourself, your organization, your family, your future. Develop all the skills necessary to make your fortune. And by the way, speaking of fortune, jot this down. One of the early goals you should set, since you're involved in a program that can help you get there. The goal to become financially independent as quickly as possible. Financial independence means the ability someday to live from the income of your invested resources. I want you to get there as quickly as possible. Someday you could, if you wanted to, live from the income of your invested resources, so that now you can work for joy and not for necessity. The next word I want to leave with you is courage. Sometimes when it all seems wrong, you just have to stay in there and have courage to stay. Courage in public. Here's some of the most important courage. Courage in private. When you've got nobody to talk to but yourself, have courage to tell yourself the truth. Here's where I really am. Here's what I'm really doing. Here's what's really going on. That kind of courage will change your life. Here's the next one. Courage to change. If you've gotten some information here already today to make some changes in your program, changes in your thought, changes in your philosophy, how to do the business, make those changes. Here's the next one. Courage to be silent when it's so easy to talk. Here's the big one. Courage to forgive. If somebody you've been working with and there seems to be a little tension, things aren't going well, somebody asks you to forgive, do that. Next, the courage to risk, like the farmer does every year, planting in the spring. Risk your emotions and your time and your heart. And to finish, learn the lesson of the seasons. Do the work of summer. Here's what summer's for: to nourish your values like a mother, give them life, to protect them like a father. Do the work of summer, staying the whole season, staying till it turns, staying till it happens. In the harvest, when it comes, there's two things in life that are so important. Number one, the full development of all your potential. Here's the next one: the wise use of all your resources. All those years ago, I started teaching 70, 10, 10, and 10. Don't spend more than 70% of what you earn. Then 10 cents for charity, 10 cents for active capital, which is Herbalife, 10 cents for investment capital. 70, 10, 10, and 10. Some have used that. Sarah used it. Others have used it over the last 10 years to become millionaires. I was taught which works. If you want to be financially independent someday, it's called 2 homes and 1 car. The average American gets 2 cars and 1 home. Here's a good advice: 2 homes and 1 car. You buy the second car after you've bought the second home. Wise use of your resources. So do the work of summer. It's not easy, but get it done. Do wise things with your harvest. And here's the last season to finish: when the winter comes. Hopefully you'll be prepared from what you've done before the winter arrives. But the winter of surprise, the winter of death, the winter of illness, the winter of difficulties, make this note: just hang on. You know, the winter cannot last forever. There's never been a double winter. Some are difficult and some are easier. There's never been a double night. The night only lasts for a few hours, and then the day finally dawns and the shadows flee away.